Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Insert Name of Channel. I'm your host, Insert Name of Host. And this is where I do commentary on all things insert name of subject. Okay, thank you all for watching. Thank you for the double likes and the views. I really appreciate it. And without further ado, let's get started with tonight's review of Insert Which Wrestling Event. Okay, all right. As you can see through the humor that I am alluding to, I am here to give a review of Insert Name of Wrestlers MJF and CM Punk. I'm going to tell you something. I wasn't going to say anything, but that, ladies and gentlemen, that is how you do a promo right there. That is a god darn good promo right there. I swear. I'm telling you right now. I swear to God, that was one of the best things I've seen. That, in my opinion, and I know I can get a witness out there, hey, but in my personal opinion, that promo right there, the one we saw tonight, that promo tops CM Punk and Eddie Kingston. As great as that was, this one tops it. So let's get into the details of the situation. So as we know, of course, last week, CM Punk totally owned MJF without saying a word, and that is what I put in the comments of AEW channel. If you saw it last week, I put in the comment section of AEW's segment last week, CM Punk owned MJF without saying one word. He never said a mumbling word. Just kidding. I didn't come to get all churchy. But either way, so it started off with CM Punk being interrupted in his hometown of Chicago, Illinois, in the Allstate Arena from what it looks like. And if I'm not, and it's crazy because WWE does a lot. When WWE comes to Chicago, they go there. When AEW Dynamite came, that's where they went tonight, and it was awesome. So, man. So MJF Maxwell interrupts CM Punk, doesn't feel good, and he begins to throw just straight up bullets, verbal bullets, alluding to his 7 years off of wrestling, and also making allusions to WWE quote, "Take your ball and go home," like The Rock said about Stone Cold in 2002. He also mentioned, of course, he mentions a lot of other fiery things about how short his UFC career was. He was an MMA fighter for a short period of time. And the fans wanted him to shut the F up, but he said no. And he just went on and totally destroyed it. And I'm looking like, Punk, you're not going to take that, are you? And Punk did not take that lying down, as I knew he wouldn't. And the official AEW video was 18 minutes long, almost 20 minutes. I've never seen a pipe bomb or a promo last that long and be that good. That was fire. Punk comes back in response, as I knew he would, and compared and responded to why he did not allude to MJF in some of the interviews he did. Not because he didn't want none, sound like AJ Styles' song, but it was because he didn't feel like feeding MJF's rotten ego. And from a scripted standpoint, I myself, you have the right to root for who you want to, but in a scripted standpoint, I don't know who they are in real life, but from a scripted standpoint, I'm always rooting against MJF. but I'm not gonna attack the man like some people did. And did y'all see that idiot's response? He was like, he had a conversation with Seth Rollins. You know good and darn well that was not the real Seth Rollins. Somebody with a fake account did that, and the attacker took it personally. You know good and well that was not the real Seth Rollins. I remember one time I said something complimentary, not lustfully, but complimentary about Sasha Banks as a wrestler. And someone with the channel name Sasha Banks said, "Thank you so much." And I did the same about Alexa Bliss as far as in-ring skill is concerned. Someone with a channel named Alexa Bliss said, "Thank you so much." Those are not them for real, people. But I digress. Back to the situation at hand. Even though I am the type to root against MJF, I'm not going to attack him, but I got to be honest, that was the most fiery thing I've ever seen. CM Punk comes back and not only says that he's not going to feed his rotten ego, but he compared him to a 2.0 basically version of The Miz. That was crazy. That's where it got real fiery, number one, comparing him to The Miz. And then he said, "I thought MJF stood for my jealous fan." Of course he would be. He's got a poster of CM Punk on his wall, which we all did not know of. So back to MJF. MJF comes in and totally destroys the whole thing. I got it. Whether we boo him on script or not, we got to be honest. MJF was blowing fire like a dragon tonight. So he comes in and blows some more fire, savagery fire, by saying how CM Punk has gone to PG Punk and alluded to John Cena with hustle, loyalty, and respect because Cena was the face of the PG era, especially with him changing colors, and The Rock called him Fruity Peppers a lot. But he was the top guy of, or as WWE intended, he was intended to be the face of the PG era, John Cena. So MJF alluded to that. And then he went on to talk about how CM Punk was second best to Cena and the King of Kings. Thank God he has recovered from his heart problems. Thank God. But either way, his friend Shawn must have been praying for him. God likes Shawn Michaels. But either way, just kidding. He likes everybody. But either way, so he alluded to Punk being second best to those two. He even alluded to him being PG Punk and how that was the pipe bomb, which we all loved, by the way, was one of the best things CM Punk did, and it was one of his best moments. And MJF bragged and said, every MJF moment is the best. So that went on, and he just totally... MJF really brought the noise tonight. He really did. He brought it, alluding to WWE stuff. And speaking of alluding to WWE, CM Punk came back and defended himself, saying, we are not... He was in his hometown of Chicago, and if you notice, I'm wearing a Chicago hat that a family member gave me. He alluded to himself in the city, saying, we're not second because we're second place or someone is before us. We are second city saints because when the city falls, we build ourselves up over the ashes, which is very touching. But also, he totally destroyed. Now, MJF probably by points, I hate to give some to MJF, but CM Punk destroyed it at the end when he said this. MJF alluded to some WWE stuff with the hustle, loyalty, and respect and whatnot. and all of that stuff. So I gotta wonder what John Cena, Triple H, and The Miz think after seeing that. But CM Punk ended the whole thing by saying, I'm not. He went on PG and said, I came here and I didn't mention you on purpose, but I went after the heart and soul of this company, which is Darby Allin, and that eats you up. And I defeated Darby, and I didn't need some ring to do, and I didn't need FTR, which is I thought that was Taz's group. No, that was the FTW. That's FTW. But FTR, which is MJF's group, interferes. And Punk said, I don't need them to interfere because I can do it. I'm the best in the world and I can do it by myself, unlike you. And then he said something else. Excuse me. He said, the only way, and this is the part that was really good. A lot of it was really good, but this is the other thing that was really good. And we all know what this alludes to, with all due respect. He said, Punk said to MJF, the only way you're going to be good is if Tony Khan, who was the owner of AEW and the starter of AEW, to my knowledge, the only way you're ever going to become number one is if Tony Khan has a daughter and you marry her. God. And we all know that alludes to Triple H, how he married Stephanie McMahon, daughter of Mr. McMahon, owner of WWE. And speaking of Mr. McMahon, I didn't know that egg angle was going to get a lot of ratings. And I will say this, WWE is trying to get some ratings going when Mr. McMahon comes in to say, all right, this is how we're going to do it. And brings the egg on, which he gave to The Rock also. So that, man, let me tell you something. That was one of the best promos ever. And as much as I am a WWE fan and a follower of WWE, and for those of you who are new to this channel, probably will be new to this, I do most content on WWE. So I'm not against WWE. I'm not pro one thing and anti the other. That's not what I'm about. I do commentary on WWE as well as AEW, especially on nights like this when AEW did something really, really good. I will say this. I'm not anti-WWE, as my channel will prove to you. But I gotta say this. We need this kind of stuff in WWE. I ain't gonna lie. We need this in WWE. We need some. Now, we did get a piece of it when Roman Reigns compared Cena to missionary Baptist church references. It wasn't actually church reference, it's something else. I'm just trying to keep it PG. But either way, all I will say is this. WWE, we need to do this. WWE needs this because AEW has had so many amazing promos, and I have liked all of them. This one, Eddie and Punk, and Ruby Soho with Britt Baker. Speaking of Britt Baker, CM Punk mentioned Britt Baker and saying that MJF thinks he's one of the pillars, but he's got replaced by Britt Baker. Say it with me, DMD. I love saying that. I don't even know what that means. I just know it's fun to say it. But I will ask you this. That was a great promo. According to Savagery Points, who do you think won that promo? CM Punk finished it at the end, and what's that dude's name? MJF, Maxwell, not the singer, even though Punk alluded to the singer, Maxwell walked away. But I will say this, that's how you build up a rivalry. That's how you build up for a pay-per-view, that's how you build up for a match. And WWE should really work on doing this. And I'm a WWE fan for life, but they need to work on building this because that was fire. And you want to know what's interesting? I will say this before I go. I did 2 reviews in the same night. I did a review on King Woods versus Jimmy Uso. That same night, I did a review on Eddie Kingston and CM Punk at AEW Rampage. My thoughts from AEW Rampage got over 210 views, which is 200 more than my WWE Friday night view. That tells me a lot of people are really interested in AEW. We got to get this energy into WWE. That's all I'm saying. Who, on points, by points, who do you think won? Who do you think won this promo by points? CM Punk ended it, but who do you think won based on savage verbal points? Let me know in the comment section. That's all the time I got for you today. Tonight, should I say. I'll see you Friday for another review, and have a great insert holiday Thanksgiving. And I'll see you insert name of week Friday for another review on all things wrestling. See you later, everyone.